Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Malay, and I'm the host of this meeting. I represent the IP business for LexisNexis in India. First of all, we would want to thank all of you for taking time out today for attending this webinar out of your busy schedule. We proposed this webinar when we could share some of the best practices that we have observed working with multiple corporations across the globe, also with government and academic research institutions. Um, Through this webinar, we are looking forward to share some of the best practices that has been observed by us. So to conduct today's webinar, we have Tarineshwari Gunasekharan, who is the Customer Success Manager for LexisNexis. She has been instrumental in helping clients across a gamut of industries, including corporations, Fortune 550 companies, also government institutions, including the Indian Patent Office as well, and many other law firms and consulting firms across India and other territory as well. So on that note, I would like to welcome all of you for the webinar today, and we hope that this webinar would add a lot of significant value to our learning today. Before we start the webinar, I would want to post a quick poll wherein I would want to hear from our audience today. What do they think about the patent application trend that we have in the patent office? So I have just posted a poll and would request all of you to provide your input basis what you see or what you understand basis the patent application filing for India. So we will publish the poll results. The poll will close in next 30 seconds. And as soon as we close the poll, we will be able to um, move next on the webinar part. So we'll probably give it a minute for the polls to be conducted. I can see some really great response already coming in from audience, and we would be really delighted to share the poll results as well. Please bear with us. I can see already 70% of the audience in our webinar have voted for this poll today. If you have not voted yet, please feel free to vote. Okay. So we'll close the webinar poll in next 1 minute. Before we close the poll, I would also want to highlight quick things for you. So you can also ask your questions through the chat box, and we would aim to provide answers to you in between of the session or towards the end of the session. And we have uploaded some documents in handouts wherein we can, you can quickly see some of the brochures that we have uploaded. You can download them and you can review them later as well, right? So we have most of the responses already there. I'm going to close the poll for all attendees in interest of time right now, and I'm going to hand over to my colleague Tarni. Very warm welcome to you, Tarni. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Malay. Thanks, everyone. Am I audible?
You are indeed. Yep.
Yes. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. As Malay pointed out correctly, today the live webinar is going to talk about the top 5 strategies for carrying out a better product search. So basically what we are going to do is we are going to share our experience after working with the customer for last few years. We understood there is some strategy has been involved into a product search. So let's begin the show. Today we have 3 different topics. One, I'll be talking about the product search strategies in the presentation. And second, I'll also show a quick demo on the product, how to do the search strategies and what is the challenges or what is the tricks that we can make when we are doing a product search. And lastly, we can also have some question and answers from the audience. So basically, before even we start talking about product, we need to know what is product, right? So product is any evidence that your invention is already known, and product does not need to exist physically or be commercially available. So it can be It is enough that someone somewhere sometime previously has described or shown or made something that contains the use of technology that is very similar to your invention. So it's very evident if you see a similar invention of yours in any form or in any era, it could be your prior art. So for a few examples, prior art can be a prehistoric cave paintings, or it can be a scene from a comic book or from a novel, or it can be a piece of technology that is century old. So the next question comes up like, why do we need to do a prior art search? What is the purpose behind it, right? So the purpose is this. It gives you like lots of ideas. So you can generate lots of ideas to your R&D one. And second, it avoids duplicates of work. You don't tend to do the same work again and again. So you can understand whether your invention is already in existence or you're going to do some changes to the existing invention. And third, to reduce significant R&D investment. Yeah, the time and money is more important for everybody. So we can reduce that when we do a effective prior art. And we can also develop some new technology solutions to a problem. So we have questions we don't have a proper answer, then we can actually get it from the existing art. And it will also help us to evaluate specific technology. So if you're specific about a particular industry and you want to know how it moved from 1960 till date, then if you start looking into the documents of prior existing documents, then obviously you know the technology growth, right? So these are very limited purpose that I have listed, and other than this, there are other purposes as well. So now let's begin. The 5 strategy that we are going to see today is keyword. As everybody knows that any search will start with a key term. It can be a single word, or it can be a one-page keywords, or it can be a combination of keywords. So anything that comes under keyword, yes, that's very obvious search criteria. And second, classification. So if you ask me a question whether classification is a major criteria, I would say yes, that's the most efficient way. So we'll see that a little later. And the third criteria that we are going to handle in this presentation is name. So it can be an inventor name or it can be a assignee name. So we'll also do some searches based on the name based. And then the citations, forward and backward citations. We'll see how this will help us to identify the right prior art. And the last but not the least is non-patent literature. So that's about an article or magazine. So as we've seen in the earlier slide, prior art even can be a old paintings, or it can be from a comic book also. So we need to refer something which is not a patent literature, but it still can be a supporting prior art for our invention. So to begin with, keyword search. So basically, how we can obtain a keyword? Is it that easy, right? So that's always a question. I know like lots of keywords, but are they mostly relevant to this invention, or how I can closely connect them to this? So for this question, there are like various categories that we need to keep in mind when we are deriving a keyword search. So first thing is terms which best describes the idea or invention. So for example, if I have an invention based on watch, if I just search for watch, then I have like close to 1,28,000 documents in a database. If I just narrow down with a smartwatch, the other way to put in a watch with more concise term, then I get like 46,820 documents. If I give the usage of the watch that I'm going to invent, like watch to monitor heart rate, then I have like 128 documents. If you ask me a question whether 1,28,000 document is right or 128 is right, I would say neither of them. So our answer is somewhere relies in between to these two numbers. That's what we need to figure out. And second way to obtain a key term is technical terms. Many people, we colloquially use the word fracture, but fracture is also dealt like broken bone or cartilage. So when I do a search, if I use only the term fracture, will it survive? Will it get the relevant document? Probably no. So I also need to know the technical terms, how the industry uses the jargon. So what is the industry jargon? Probably it's good if you can talk to a SME and understand the industry jargon, or you can even talk to yourself and try to read more vocabulary and find out the terms. Or we can also get these informations in the search itself. And the third one is obsolete terms. Yes, so initially it was LAN, as everybody aware of. Now the term of LAN is not available, right? So we have moved to wireless. So if you want to talk something about the wireless, we also need to look at the land because that's the previous technology. So it can be obsolete terms or an obsolete technology, which will also we need to keep in mind when we are doing a keyword search. And the last thing that I've listed over here is homonym. So what it means, the word is same, the spelling is same, but the meaning is different. Like if I give the example of calf, it can be denote to a baby cow or it can be a muscle in the leg, right? Both the answers are not wrong, but so technically one of the answer is a false for me. So if I'm going to work on animal industry, probably muscle in the leg may not survive there. Or if I'm going to look at the human body parts, then baby cow doesn't have a value. So I need to know how to eliminate the falsehood over there. So these are few ways and methods that are listed over here, how we can obtain the keyword. So look into the challenges. What are the major challenges? One is the translation, right? Though we get documents globally, but most of the documents may be in a different language. So we need to have a proper translation to get rid of this challenge. And second is inconsistent terminology. In a patent document, if someone writes the words range, and in the same document, if the same person writes his needle or injection, all the three terms denotes the same meaning. But if there is an inconsistent, right? The terminology doesn't remain the same over the place. And third is synonym. So synonym builder, many people say it is a pro. I would say it is a con. The reason is very simple. So if I look for the synonym, the first word, if I use the word syringe itself, I may get an injection and a needle as a synonym builder. Like synonym builder can give me injection or needle as a suggestion. So if I go with needle, then the next suggestion that it is giving me about the needle, not about the synonym. So if I pick up the third word, then the third word obviously gets me the other four different terms. So at the end, what happens eventually, we are remotely getting disconnected from your actual invention. So synonym builder, at times it works, but many times it is not. So that's a major challenge that a researcher has to keep in mind when they are working on a keyword search. And next thing is classification. So basically classification get grouped by the patent examiner in the olden days, but now it has been assigned by AI technology. So what AI technology does, it takes the words from the patent document and it tries to collaborate them under each different categories, and then it will paste it over here. So if you look at the screenshot, I've just given you a glimpse of corporate patent classification, that is CPC. So these are the major criteria are there: A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and Y, right? So how we can obtain a classification? It's by the document that we search. We can also do a direct search on the classification website. So if you want to search, you can search under eSpaceNet, or you can search under WIPO for IPC, or if you can search for F terms in Japanese Patent Authority, and you can search ECLA under European Union, or if you want to look for any design patent, then you can search under Locarno. So there are various places where we can search for classification. How our classification can help us in terms of prior art. You get classification even in the older patents. So when I say older patent, if you take example 1970s, we may have the patent applications or patent details to some extent, not the full text information. You may not get the claims and the description, but still you will have the classification there, just to say these documents follow under category A, right? And second thing is it is uniform because it based on the technology. So all the technology under mechanical will fall under F category. It will not fall under A category. However, there is a challenge as well. If a particular patent has two different technology it handles, then you may have A and F together. So basically it's uniform, so it's easy for us to derive or use it in a prior art search. So the most challengeful work in terms of classification is, as I said, when you want to search, you have multiple authorities. So the question of a researcher, like which authority I need to rely on? Do I need to stick to European Union, or like look for the ECLA, or do I need to look for F terms, or do I need to look for CPC? Because there are so many authorities, so many set of rules. And understanding one particular authority itself a challenge because the complications is so high. So if you look into the second screenshot, you can see there is a class A, subclass, group, subgroup. So many categories are there. So it's very hard for an individual to remember everything and put it in writing when they are actually doing a prior art search. And the third, as I said, name, when it comes to inventor name or assignee name, both will be helpful for us in terms of prior art search. So basically, inventor name or assignee name will come into picture when we think about a competitor. If I'm working on a bike company, then obviously who are my competitors? So it's very known names for me. I can quickly look into their patents and understand whether they have similar invention of mine. Then the second thing is individual inventor name. So that goes like a competitor. So I can aware like who are the other people is also working in the same line. When I know the names, it's easy. I can just put the names and call out the documents. If I don't know the names, I don't aware of it. Probably the invention is not in India, but it may have some impact in US. So someone is in US sitting and developing it. So how do I get that? So what happens when you do a keyword search and a classification search, you can combine those two and you can get the top 10 inventor name and the assignee name for your further developments for the name search. And the last one is surfing through internet. I would say it doesn't help us in 100%, but to some extent, when we don't have any clarity, when you see the third field is not helping you, then you can go for a surfing internet and finding out the other people who's in the same industry. The challenge over here is how the names has been dealt in a system, right? If you know it's a name of Candice Corby can be listed at Candice Corby itself or Candice O. Corby, Candice Olive Corby, CO Corby or Corby Candice. Anyway, any ways or methods, the applicant can use the name to file an application. And second thing is different spellings or wrong spellings. So if I want to work for look for patents from IBM, then I can use IBM with dot, without dot, IBM with space, without space, a comma between the alphabets, or I can make it like a full sentence, international mission, business mission. So there are lots of variation that I need to remember when I do a name search. And the last one is translation. If we know some Latin names or Asian names, some Japanese inventor or some Chinese inventor, then we really need to be smart to use those terms itself in order to do a translation, in order to do a search. And the fourth strategy that we will be looking into is citation search. So how do we get the citation? It basically comes from the previous search. So when we do search based on a classification or when we do a combination of classification and keyword or only keyword search, so any of these three criteria can give us the best citations. So citations are ready to use. Once you get the cited documents, then you can simply read them and you can understand the product. The reason is the root document itself is going to be a prior art for you because it has been derived from the previous searches, right? And citations will be more helpful when we know whether it is the examiner cited or it has been cited by the applicant during the filing stage or it comes in the search report. So when we know all these informations or all these categories of citation, then it's even more interesting for us to understand which document we can consider as a prior art document for us. And I would say citations can be 100% quality oriented because it involves human reference. There is no machines or AI into it. It's just the examiner or the applicant or the search report people is going to submit the citation. So that's 100% reliable information. And fourth, we can also see the technology growth. So looking at the previous document backward citation, I can see what is the prior art for my document, and my document is today's invention, and who are going to cite my document in their patent as a prior art, they will be my forward citation. So I can see the growth of a technology, any particular industry. And the last one is the ability to improve drafting claims and descriptions. This is more interesting. The reason why is when you read a particular cited documents, obviously we get to know what are the methods that they have drafted the claims. If we see, okay, my invention is exactly the similar to the existing invention that I found in this document. So what I do, can I change some terms? Can I change some like a small modulations or small tweaks to the existing claims where I can say mine is new and novel, right? So ability to improve your drafting claims and descriptions can happen when you do a citation search. And next is the challenges. So if you're a person who tend to read a lot, then you end up reading a lot because it will be really interesting if you start reading your own invention from a different person, from a different mouth, right? So you will end up reading 100 documents, 200 documents. Probably you may get deviated from your actual work at some point. And the last fifth criteria is non-patent literature. As we earlier seen, patent literature is not only a prior art, anything can be a prior art. So it's very mandatory for us to even look at open source or magazines or in newsletters. So we need to identify the relevant research documents or relevant research articles or a technology-based magazines, whether it is a journal of chemistry or whether it is IEEE documents or it is a technology-based documents. We need to figure out that where we are going to do our search. And the third point over there, most of the non-patent literature can be open source or something can be paid source as well. So the challenges is, if I do it in the open source, I may get millions of documents because it's a technology era where we have so much information pouring on the website. So we need to be very careful which we need to look, how we need to look. And then the language can be a problem. Not everything is available in open source. Of course, we need to take some licenses to read certain documents. So if you look for some Scopus documents where it has all the information, but Scopus is a paid source, right? So with this, I have explained the theory portion of the strategy. So we'll just get into a case study. I'll show two case studies, one without creating any key term for now or without creating any search strategy. Simply we'll see how we can develop the search strategy in the tool. Okay, so the case study is this. Think of this drone technology in agricultural field. There is a machine that has spread pesticides into agricultural field in India since 2015. Now in 2020, Seabird company come up with an idea to use drone technology into farming activities. So basically this is the technology that we are going to search for today. Let's see. Before we start with the product search, we need to understand or we need to answer a few questions so that we'll have some handy information before we start a search. First thing, the purpose. What is the purpose of your in search? So for me, it's like using drone for major agricultural activities to replace human labor and to reduce cost and time. And second, the invention, drone to ascertain the crop growth, detect insects, spray pesticides or fertilizer. And the uniqueness of it, it has different wings and it is detachable wings. So I can fix the wings as per the job. So if it is just going to do an inspection on the crop growth, then I can have a camera fixed in the wings. If it is going to spray pesticides, then I can have a separate wings for that where it has a nozzles to spray the pesticides into the crop. So that way I have like different sets of wings and these wings are detachable. That's the very unique of my invention for today. And other relevant words. So fertilizer, herbicides, plants, mapping, calculate, chemical, seed, grasshopper, locust, flies, earthworm, rodents, detachable wings or removable wings. So these are few terms which I felt, okay, these will be supporting to me in my claims and my descriptions. So I'm going to use them in my prior art search. Let's begin. So I'll move into the tool now. So I have a tool in front of me, which is Total Patent 1. I'm going to use this tool to execute my prior art search. To begin my search, let me simply use the full text. I'm going to say the word drone. Search. I just use the word drone and I'm going to search it on the full text. So it's very good if you start your search on a full text so that we'll understand how much or how depth your term has been involved in a patent database. So I can see the overall result, which has the word drone in it. The answer is getting loading. Before it pops up with the answer, let me show how the innovation looks like in our YouTube. So this was the invention that I wanted to show. So the drone is flying on the crop agricultural field and it is just moving and monitoring the entire area, right? Sorry, the search didn't happen. Okay. So I got the result over here. It's around 1,58,000 documents, right? When I want to look at the results, while I'm scrolling down, I can see the second document itself titled as unmanned aerial vehicle. So this is how you keep developing your key terms. If you're not aware of your key terms at the first go, it's better you develop your key terms when you start searching on a tool. So now I'm going to use this particular word as well. I'm going to change my search criteria from drone or unmanned aerial vehicle or UAV, right? I'm going to search. I'm not sure whether the result is going to be narrowed down or it's really high. So previously we saw 1,20,000 documents. Now it is 3,20,000 documents. It looks really high for us. And now we need to know how to we narrow down the search, right? Because by using these key terms, we really got a huge number. It's highly impossible for any individual to review these set of documents. So it's better we narrow down. Before we narrow down, we'll also quickly look at the key term occurrence just to see is there any false set that we can found. So I can see only drone and UAV in bar references here. Okay, so this looks interesting. So what I need to do now, I need to search for a classification because I have used the key terms. The second criteria that I have with me is the classification. So how do I know the relevant classification? If I'm a new person to a patent search, then the challenges for me, it's like either I need to search for drone in the eSpaceNet, that is like CPC. If I look for drone, search drone, I have this classification B64C2201/00. And if I want to do the same exercise for IPC, then I can do it under WIPO for IPC. For IPC, it gives me two different references. And I can use Japanese website, that's for F terms. So F terms, these are the F terms for me. So now either I can use a combination of these three, or I can simply rely on the tool that I'm working on. So this is the tool and I got this as a result. So let me see how this tool can help me to narrow down my result. So I'm getting into the filter. So under filter, I have the CPC classification, right? So when I go down for CPC classification, I can see there is lots of classification. Everything that goes with B64C. So if I quickly want to review, like read what this classification is, simple, just click over here and you get the definition at this place. Okay, I can look at the definition. It says performing operation, transporting, aircraft, aviation. So the bottom line is of the remote controlled vehicle type. So that's RPV. So this is exactly what we are looking at, right? So drone is actually a remote controlled vehicle. So this classification is closely connected to us and it is more relevant for us. Let me close it. And to review the second one, it's very clearly mentioned like unmanned aerial vehicle. So it's clear that we are on the right path. So we need to search for the classification B64C. So B64C can be seen in IPC as well. So there can be lots of confusion whether I need to use a CPC or IPC. What I'm going to use over here is simple. So I'm just going to say class, which will cover all the classification. And I'm going to give the term here is B64C, right? So I just use the word 4-letter of this and I'm going to search. Obviously, there will be some lesser result for us. Good, interesting. So now we have like 69,209 documents. So just to see whether we are on the right track, let me just review the very first document. The abstract. So let me change this to relevance. So we'll see how the relevant key terms are helping us. Okay, I can see there are so many unmanned vehicles is being highlighted. So the documents are very much relevant for us. Yeah, so it has like lots of information. So in the meanwhile, what I can do is when I know these 60,000 documents are relevant to me, I cannot review all the 60,000. So I need to even narrow it down to some extent so that I can do a quick understanding or analysis of my prior art document. So what I'll do is I need to know the people who are involved in this technology. Again, we can go to open source and find out who are the competitors. If you're aware of the competitor, then simply you can just drill down your search query with your competitor name, or else you can also pick it from the tool that you're working on. So I'm going to use my tool. Just click over here. So this is the place where I can see the top 10 assignees now. So I don't want to look for all the assignee which covers the 69,000. Let me see the top 10. From there, I can get some understanding and start working on them. So bear with me. My internet is a little slow today. Okay, so now we got the top 10 in the assignee names. So to know about the assignee, I can pick up DJI Technology, Boeing, Aero, Environment, Amazon, Qualcomm, Walmart. It's very surprising to see Walmart here, right? Because they are into a supermarket who sells grocery basically. Though Walmart started using drone as a logistic delivery equipment, but later on what they understood, they got the sense of market for the drone itself. So they started manufacturing drone and they started getting patent for their own drone, and now they are selling drone at their under the company name Walmart Apollo. So we'll take few names from here to drill down our result. So before we do that, it's always advisable when you know a company name, also do some browsing so that you will understand how relevant that company is, because we also need to cross check our thoughts and ideas, right? So when I know DJI in technology, so I'm going to look into it. Everything look like drone. Oh, they have drone for agriculture as such. So you can quickly see what are the variations they have. And if you convinced, okay, I'm going to look for only DJI technology, then you can stop with the DJI technology itself, or you can add some more assignee names. So let me add few names now to drill down my search. So I'm going to my search page again. Let me take standard assignee, go here. So DJI technology. So I have lots of variation, but I'm just going to pick very few now. So let me add 4 company names. Walmart Apollo. So there are 3. Let me pick everything. And then we had Boeing also there on the list. ING, Boeing. One more is Aero, Environment, right? So I have selected few assignees here. I'm going to drill down my search result. Search. When I do this drill down, so I'm going to get my results. Obviously, the results will be narrowed down. It should be some thousands now. Let's see. Search is loading. So in the meanwhile, if you have any questions or something, please use the chat box to leave your questions. And now we can see the results are like 6,554 documents. So these can be readable, right? So when we had like 3,20,000 documents, by just using like 3 important criteria with the relevant information, we just sorted with 6,000 now. So it's very easy. You can start reviewing your documents. As a prior art researcher, I would always suggest whenever you feel a particular document is more relevant or interesting for you, then and there just do some notes on it. Otherwise, you will miss the document and you need to review the entire document pool again. So that's highly time consuming, and we may not get that relevant document at the later part. So it's always good if you feel a particular document is more relevant. So I'm just going to say relevant claims 1 to 7. So Follow towards save it, right? So I saw this document with lots of highlights. So this is very clear. To just to do a quick reading, I can also just read one line from the highlight so that I can see whether it's a false it or a right document. So by looking at the title itself, it's very obvious: unmanned aerial vehicle control method and control device. So this is something what we are looking at. So the images also can add some masala to our invention, right? So we can look into the images and understand, okay, is this relevant? Yes. So while I'm reviewing this document, I also easily found the fourth strategy that I was talking about previously, citations. That's more important. How do we derive citations? It comes from the relevant document. So we found 6,000 as a relevant document. Still, we can narrow down. If you feel like, okay, I still need to narrow down, you can add some more assignee, or you can restrain your classifications to the next level. So what I did over here, I have given the class. So that's a major group. So if you want to specifically say like 22 bar 24, you can still do that. I'm not going to disturb right now. And for assignee also, so if you feel, okay, I need to add one assignee and I need to remove everything, you can do that as well. But for me, I feel the 6,000 is okay. So for these documents, what is available for me? What are the other features that can help me out? So I can review the citations. By looking at the citations, it's very clear. I can see the citation origin. So these citations has come during the search report. So these are like actually a backward citations. To review them quickly, just click and you can review it then and there, and it will lead you to the next document. So to review this forward citation from this prior art. So this is what I said earlier. So when you do a citation research, you always need to be restrict with your thoughts. Otherwise, you get navigated from one document to other, and you end up reading like too many documents. So this will be interesting at some point, and this will be time consuming as well. So now I can see this cited documents has few citations. So these are like from the search report. So if you quickly feel, okay, these cited documents are more relevant, but I don't have time to review them, then simple, just select everything and put it in the folder so that you can use it in your future. So I just going to say here, drone, right? Okay. Folder created, move these documents so that all these 6 documents has been moved. So I can review whenever I feel. I can come back to this folder and I can start reviewing it. And in the meanwhile, when I feel this document is more relevant, I also have a set of documents as similar documents, right? So these documents can also give me some sense which relates to my invention, where it can be a bang on prior art for me. So it's always good to have a look at your similar documents and review them as well. So we have one filing from India too. So this is similar documents. And while we are reviewing similar documents, even family members will also play a role for the prior art search. So when you know these documents are relevant, it's the right place where you need to stop your search and you need to start with your reading mode. So while you start reading the documents, read it with the citations and look at the similar documents, also the family members of each files. So it's again the second document. So abstract claims, I can see more relevancy there. I can see the citation origin, similar documents of it, and family members. So I can quickly review these documents, and these can be very helpful for me for my prior art analysis. So if you feel, okay, it's good, I need to folder all the documents, again, that's possible, right? Anywhere you work, you just need to folder them, because if you miss these 6,000 documents, may not be the similar way you get it back. You may need to something else to get these documents again. So it's better you just folder them. Sorry, I'll just show. Let me just quickly folder them so that I'll use it in my future. So with this, we have seen the 5 strategy. Initially, we started with a simple key term, and then later we expanded the key term by looking at the one document from our search result. So I added unmanned aerial vehicle. So from the key term, I went into the top classifications. I have selected the classifications, and later on, I added the assignee based on the relevant document that I found from the combination of keyword and classification search. So 3 strategies are over here, and fourth one, we just reviewed one document and we got the relevant citations. So these are like backward and forward citations, and I can review it. And to understand the fifth one, so non-patent literature, if you want to review, you can also look at the non-patent literature from the existing file. So under citations, you may see non-patent literatures as well, or else we can also search separately for a non-patent literature. So I'll tell you how to do that. So we can do a non-patent literature search even on an open space. That's not very problematic. We can do that. But what happens in open space, I may get like millions of documents, but I need a place where I get easy document with quick, in a short span of time, where I can readable also. So it's better, I'll refer here. I've taken the non-patent site literature field. I'm going to search for, so if you're aware of the article name or the magazine name, then put it over here and go for search, or else you can just do a combination of key terms and you can search for non-patent literature. So let me just look for one document which I wanted to see now. So that's like DBFMS. So it's nothing but drone based field measurement system. So I searched, I have like close to 187 documents on that. To review the first document, just click, go to the citation pane. Oh God, I have like a list of non-patent literature headings here. So this will also at least help me like which one I need to review, right? When I look into the open source, there will be like millions of non-patent literature title, but here, though there are many titles, but still all are relevant title for me. Just that I need to pick which one is closely connected. Instead of reading thousands, I can just read very few of them. Okay, I think there is some issue with my system. Okay, so maybe we'll see this in the next case study. Yeah, so whenever you see a highlights, it's very easily, you can just click on the highlight and you can review those documents. So this is how you can do a non-patent literature research itself. So move to next documents, then you get to see a group of non-patent literature titles. So basically this is one way of doing research, and there is another way as well. So we'll see the another way. So that's nothing but having all the key terms handy. So when we begin, we just begin with one word, and this is a place where I just mapped all the key terms. So I have given the drone combination here. So unmanned aerial vehicle or uncrewed aerial vehicle. So I have used the word agricultural, crop, mapping, estimation, inspection, monitoring, calculation, spray, fertilizer, pesticides. So I've put in all the words which are going to be relevant for me. What I'll do, I'll just copy paste them in my query box to see how I'm getting this result. So I just pasted it, and we can see how nicely the operators are in different colors. Little pleasant to the eyes as well, not too many blacks. Okay, so now I get a result of 522 documents. These are very relevant results, no doubt about it. But then these are only the results, I doubt, because when we look for documents with 142 million document database, then 522 result at one go, it means we have too much narrowed down our result. So you can review them, but also you need to review something additional, because this result can be very much narrow to your existing relevant document. You may miss out, or you may have it in this 522. So that could be a mere luck. So I would suggest always, whenever we start a query or whenever we start a prior art project, it's always starts with an open mind. Keep lesser key term, keep a very relevant key term, relevant less key terms, and start working on it. From there, develop to a classification and then move on to the assignee, and later part you get the relevant citations and the non-patent literature headings. So this is the next thing that I wanted to cover up. So if I add some of these criteria, then I may get select very less result. Let me see my classification here. So that's a bang on CPC. So I cannot use a class over there. So I just use the CPC direct. Oh, maybe if there is some word which is there in the full text is not found in CPC, that could be the case. Okay, now I have like 86 documents. So getting all terms ready, and then if you jump into the tool, then probably you may get simple results, but may not the right result. So with this, I have covered for today, and let's go for question and answer. Hey, Malay.
Yes, I'm here. Okay. So thank you so much, Tarni. And before we open up for the question and answer, I would like to do another quick poll. Before I do that poll, I would want to share the results for the last poll that we have. So surprisingly, over 43% people think that um, patent filing, patent applications in Indian Patent Office is over 70,000 to 100,000. So what do you think, Tarni? How many patents are filed in India every year? Hello? Hello? Can you hear me?
Sorry, I was on mute.
Yeah, sure, no
Yes,
problems. Yeah, so
yes,
right
Malay.
now in the Indian Patent Office, the filing is in between 40,000 to 70,000, and I think
Yes.
46% of the audience on in our session got it right today. I would want to launch one more poll, and then probably move on to the question and answer session. So this is one quick snap poll again for a minute for all of our audience. We'd want to understand who does the prior art search for you. So are you doing it mostly yourself? Is it done by your corporate patent department, or is it something which is done by your law firm? Okay, we are getting a lot of responses now. Um, we'll give it a minute so that we can collect all the response, and we will also kind of publish this response for everyone's benefit today. So I see 54% of the audience have already voted. So please put in your opinion. Your opinion counts in, helps us understand as well. Okay, so I'm going to close the poll in next 10 to 15 seconds. If you have not voted yet, uh, please take some time out to vote for this poll. Wonderful. So let me just quickly share the response with all of you. And 55% of the audience in the webinar today, they are kind of doing the prior art search themselves. And 31% is done by the patent department. So mostly probably people from R&D background or people who are in different academic institutions as well. And for 14%, the law firm is there. So yeah, probably it, a lot of you might have some questions in and around the prior art search. It can be a question related to the session that we have had today. So I'll open up the platform for everyone to kind of voice in their questions. You can raise your hand if you'd want to ask the question via audio, or alternatively, you can type your questions in the chat box as well. Um, you know, we'll be happy to answer that as well. We are receiving some questions there. And Tarni, can you see the questions already?
Sorry, I was on mute. No, Malay. Like, is it in the chat box?
It's in the
This
chat box indeed.
okay, but see, can someone read it out? I can.
Yeah, one of the question is when searching keywords, sometimes the error is shown as SM013 invalid request. The query entry entered was not valid. Can you please help to understand this?
What was that? It's about the ribbon which comes on the top.
Yes.
In this tool. Okay, so that's just an indicator of the stemming. It just tells me the stemming is on. It's just one other operator that we have in the tool. So if I close this and if I search, I don't get this ribbon. It's just an indicator. If I open this up and when I do a search, it just let me know the stemming is on.
Okay.
It's not an error message. It's just an indication.
Okay. And there is one more question which says how to tackle problem of prior art search in case of life sciences where many documents are in public domain. So how do we kind of tackle that problem?
Okay, so it's more or less with a non-patent literature searches, right? But still, you can find the relevant documents on the tool. So whichever tool you prefer, that tool will give you lots of information. So for example, in this tool, you have like close to 142 million documents, right? So it can be any department or any divisions. You have the documents here, and you will also have the relevant NPL information in that same patent application, so patent documents. So that gives you minimize your work. Rather you're reading millions, you will be reading in hundreds or thousands. It depends on your technology.
Yeah. Also, if you're looking for non-patent literature search, I believe Google Scholar is a very good source. You can also use that for searching non-patent literature, which is freely available over the internet. So you can definitely use that as well. Another question for you, Tarni, how to see the keyword occurrence? Probably one of our audience could not see the keyword occurrence there. So can you show them, in how we can display keyword occurrence on the result list, also as well as in the document as well?
Okay, so this is the search that I did, just drawn on full text. So here I can see the keyword occurrence. So it tells me the word drone appears for 37 times in description, 9 times in abstract, 100 times in claims, and 1 time in title. So it tells me how often the word appears and which field it appears the most. So when I look at these documents, I can see it is heavily loaded on the descriptions, right? So if you want to look into a document level, then just get into the document view and expand your information, and you can see here. So I can quickly see the colors, beautiful colors like all drones is here. So while I'm reviewing this, if I want to add some more colors or some more terms into a different color, I can do that. Yeah, so see now I have a different color for the word device. It's not there in the search query, it just I added later point. So this is the highlights on the document level, and if you want to look at the keyword occurrence, this appears on the result page. Does that answer the question, or is there a follow-up on this?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. And one of the question we have from Mr. Selvidharan is, at what stage can we conclude our search? So at what stage can they think that our search is complete?
Very relevant question. So basically what happens is when you start doing searches with using these strategies of on and on, you tend to see the similar documents again and again. So when you look into the similar documents repeatedly, it means you are almost done with the relevant file. So you can confidently go ahead and move with your prior art report. Or at times you will also get a very bang on documents for your invention. Sometimes it may not be that like 100% matching, but when you feel okay, it is like 90% matching, yes, that's the relevant document for you, because always it's an improvement to the invention, right? What we are doing.
Indeed. And we have one more question from Vidya Vikas. He asks, have you encountered design patents as a prior art when you conduct a search for utility patents? So
Yes, sir.
basically, I think what is being asked is if we do a keyword-based search, do we come across design patents as well?
Yeah, so in this tool, yes, you can do that if you're not specifically talking about utility, because we have a separate filter for that. So if I want to restrict my search with design, I can go ahead. Otherwise, I can just make it like overall, and I can review it. So when I do this review, the very second document for me will be from design. So this is a design patent. So S
Okay.
time code, right? It's from China and it's a design patent.
Yes, that's really helpful indeed, Karni. And I mean, such features are also available on other platform as well. But since we are, we already provide a solution, so we'll be more than happy to show you how you can do it in our platform. So of course, you can tag the documents as per what you're searching. So you can search by utility or design patents as well. Okay, I believe we have answered the questions mostly. All of the questions are answered here on the question pane. If anyone has any specific questions right now, they can also input the question. You can also email us if you have some specific questions at a later stage that you would want us to um, kind of look into. You can send us an email at IP, which is I as an intellectual and P as in property, IP@lexisnexis.com, and we'll be more than happy to answer your questions. So again, I would like to thank all of the individuals for taking out time today for this webinar, and would also want to thank our panelists, and would also encourage you to join our next webinar, which is more specific to pharma and life sciences, wherein we are going to talk about how you can integrate Orange Book data in your patent search as well.
Thank you so much, Malay. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.